my name is May, just a little introduction. So to begin, first, The Dancing Girl, it expresses the idea of naturalism, literary naturalism, by one obvious reason was that the setting being in Germany. Naturalist writers at the time were enchanted with the idea of Germany and the West, and we can clearly see it in The Dancing Girl. Another aspect Ogai touches on is when he says that his story is similar to another story that he read about a young German man who goes to Paris and lives with a young girl. We can see this idea in the naturalist sense with how he was influenced by Western writers to develop a story that had similar themes or shared views, which like almost borrowed, even though it was mostly based on his own experiences in Germany. This story was really an important step with how Japanese naturalism was developing. Even though The Dancing Girl was not an I novel, it was the first steps to what an I novel could be, since according to Mostow, quote, in Japan, naturalism, shizen shugi, combined with the previous romantic emphasis on the self to create the shisho setsu, or autobiographical novel, quote, 13, and Ogai's The Dancing Girl owes much of how he developed the story to German Romanticism. Ichio's separate ways expresses naturalism by focusing on controversial themes. In the story, we met a young boy, Kichizo, and an older woman in her 20s, Okyo, who decides to go become a concubine to escape her life of poverty and not live on her sewing for the rest of her life. This was a controversial topic to speak of because concubines are paid mistresses to rich men, and the fact that Okyo decided to leave her life of sincerity and throwing away her morals, which bothered Kichizo so much, to become a concubine so she can be treated and live a better life than she does now. Since Ichio herself was living in the red light district of Tokyo, this kind of occurrence was probably not rare and was witnessed many times before, even though it seems like a topic that no one ever speaks of or spoke of, and that is why it falls under controversial themes reflecting naturalism. Finally, Tanizaki's The Tattooer also focuses on somewhat, you can say, controversial themes with how he depicts a tattooer thinking and behaving in the story. We get to see almost a side of reality of how maybe people who had tattoos during the Edo period were, and who gave the tattoos were as well and acted like, maybe. His story, like Ichio, kind of focused on exposing a hidden truth about the time, and we can say hidden because literally, the tattoos that the tattooer gave were on one's back, and they would be hidden from the outside world unless in exhibitions for like male participants, and for female concubines, their backs would only be seen to a select few, so the tattoos kind of did stay hidden. So I kind of feel that Mori Ogai's The Dancing Girl and Higuchi Ichio's Separate Ways both kind of fall in the Meiji era literary period, with how these stories were turning more toward a westernized writing style. The Meiji era itself, after 300 years of the Edo period, was slowly changing and adapting to Western ideology, and we can see it in both of these short stories of an increased interest in Western literary structure. They semi-experimented, but not too much, since this was still a new concept to them, but nonetheless aided in the development of Japanese naturalism. For Tanizaki's The Tattooer, though, his falls more in the Taisho era, even though it was published 2 years before the era itself. His story really took experimenting to another level than what was seen before. His style fell more into the modernist style, which was seen in the Taisho era, where an increasing result of Japanese modern forms of writing were being developed. Thank you.